Hey everyone, I'm Misha Dang. Thank you so much for joining me again for another budget video. I'm getting tired of doing these, guys. It's exhausting. We'll start off with the lighter, easier things first. I uploaded an Instagram story the other day of me highlighting boxes for my debt-free Snowball, because in my planner, I'll go get that actually. So in my planner, if you recall, I haven't showed you guys this in a while, is I have kind of my debt snowball, sheet, and they're divided again into 2,000 payment columns. So every time I have a payment, I highlight it. So I have a little more than $30,000 left, and I highlighted 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's not right. I highlighted $6,000 for the month of August. And I wrote in the text of that video, it's that the closer I get to being debt free, the slower it seems to go. And I got a lot of messages from you all saying how that's how it feels to run a marathon. I'm not a runner, can't relate, but I totally understand that the closer you get, it's just like, it's just, you keep it doesn't seem like it's there. The ending is no longer in sight. And then someone asked me, like, how do you stay motivated? She's in the exact same place or feeling that I am feeling right now. It's just, we're like, like I'm so close, but it feels like nothing's like changing or moving. And honestly, what I've been doing is I've been spending money on myself, which is probably, at least in August, which is probably like the last thing I should be doing. Probably just throwing money at my loans. But honestly, I am getting burnt out. Just being so close to the finish line, but yet being not close at all is really fucking annoying. And it actually like gets me itchy thinking about it. So what I did in August, which I don't think I've ever said ever in any of my videos, ever, I went on a shopping spree. And by shopping spree, I actually didn't really buy that much, but I bought stuff for myself only. Because every time like I treat myself, it's not really me treating myself, it's me treating myself plus Brian, or me treating myself plus the dogs, or me treating myself plus something else. And this entire journey, I haven't done anything for my goddamn self. And you know what? August, I fucking did. I've been trying to kind of buy or just be more conscious because I haven't really bought anything because I have no money to pay for it. But I've been wanting to go into the direction of buying like more conscious clothing brands, like local American women-owned clothing brands, just to make, put my money where my mouth is kind of thing. So I bought a couple pieces from women-owned companies that are based in LA, and I love them. This is one of them. You can't really see it, but I'm really happy with it. And honestly, that's what I've been doing to make myself feel better is I've bought clothes, one that fit me, and then two that, I honestly just spent money on myself. Again, probably not advisable considering I still have $34,000 left of debt, but I just needed to do that. So that's how I'm coping with it. I don't know how you guys do it when you're like so close but so far, but that's something I wanted to address. But speaking of that, I think this is also an important point as to why I decided to pay off my loans smallest to largest. For me, I know myself, the interest rate doesn't matter. The goal, I'm very goal oriented. So if I could just start knocking off goals left and right, then I would feel better. That's why I started paying off my debts as a whole, smallest to largest. Credit card, car, first student loan, and then the doozy $150,000 student loan is what we're currently in right now. I don't know, mentally, I need to see progress quickly. So that's why I chose to do it smallest debt to largest debt. And now that we're in the largest debt, it's like, oh, but again, it's my only debt now because I've already knocked out the rest of them. So that's just my 2 cents about that. And then secondly, I wanted to point something out in my budget. I had someone message me. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I had a girl message me, email me, and she redid my budget using, I guess she actually knew how to use Excel and then added like numbers into it to where it did the math automatically for me. And I realized that I might need to explain something about my budget because I think she made the mistake in that. I can't find out who, I must have deleted it, but I responded to her, thank you very much. I checked out the budget. I appreciate you taking the time, but it needs to be mentioned. So in my budget, if you look right now, go ahead, take the time to open it. It's in the description box. I have, of course, my like income, and then I have, you know, what I take out for taxes and management fees, and then expenses, and then at the end of the bottom, it has the total of what I've spent and stuff. And in the Excel spreadsheet that she sent to me, she actually took out from everything taxes and management fee. And then that ended up making my totals being over like $20,000 over kind of my budget. And I guess I didn't really explain that. When I put my income in my budget sheet, that is already taken out taxes and management fees. So the taxes and management fees are just separate. They don't even have to be in my budget because they don't actually affect my budget really. But for me, it's just something that I personally need to visualize. So if you're looking at the numbers and thinking, but Asia didn't take out $5,000 for taxes or $2,000 for management fees. That's because I don't have to. I already took it out of the income section. So again, I hope I explained that correctly. My mind's kind of all over the place. It's 1,000 degrees in LA and I'm stinky. So not thinking clearly, but don't worry about it. Basically taxes and management fee, you don't need to worry about that number. That has no effect on my budget because it's already taken out of my income before I put it in my budget. Okay? Okay, so now that we got that stuff out of the way, I have some questions for you. Looking for advice. The first one is, I mentioned it a couple of months ago, that I was about to lose my health insurance, and I did. And I guess losing it is loose because I'm still paying for it, but I'm paying for it at a premium of, I think on my budget, it's like $595 a month for the same quality of health insurance that I have. And that's obviously not sustainable for me, so I have to cancel that. And for some reason, I thought that was a yearly fee because I've always ever paid my health insurance yearly because it's been that good. Like, SAG insurance is awesome. But I was wrong because I lost my health insurance, so now that's the amount I need to pay monthly. Can't do that, so my question to you, for those who are independent contractors, where do you get your health insurance? I don't know if you guys follow or have been listening to my podcast, Heavy Topics with Lightweights, but health insurance is something that actually we talk about a lot because we've interviewed like cancer patients and such, and they just say how much of a fuck fest it is. So I'm really nervous and I don't know where to even begin looking for something like that. So again, I'm only looking for advice from people who are in my situation, independent contractors. Where do you get good quality health insurance? Please advise in the description or in the comment section. Man, I'm really bummed about that. I didn't notice until I was inputting my budget for August that I have paid 3 months worth of like $600 for health insurance. And I was like, oh, something you weren't paying attention to, Asia. But now we are, and I'm going to be canceling it before October rolls around because I've already paid for it for September. So give me advice, looking to get that situation taken care of ASAP. I feel healthy. I don't really spend much time in the doctor's office unless it's for Luke because he's a mess. But of course, we want to just get that taken care of. What is the other thing? Oh, I forgot to mention before we talk about the other thing, let's talk about an update on Asics. The update is nothing. I just talked to Abigail, who is my manager, because I knew you guys would be interested in an update, and I haven't heard anything back about it. And she says lawyers for both sides are involved in trying to figure out a way to get my money ASAP. Let me make sure I said that correctly. Nothing yet. Our legal team, our legal and theirs, is now involved to get payment faster. And here's the thing about that. Venmo me. Like, how much faster do you need to get? I don't understand. I told you guys about this, 2 months ago, that we were finally in talks. Like, why is this taking so goddamn long? You guys fucked up. I've been waiting 2 years. Why is there still, why do I not have my money? That's the question. So, Asics, nothing fucking new. Okay, finally, the last thing I want to talk about. Last month's budget, I mentioned how I would be taking over the family finances and if you guys had any advice as to what I should do. And the thing that caught my eye, and I have said this in videos many times that I would never do, but probably the most suggested comment in that video was that you guys got a shared credit card and then paid everything 50-50 split by the end of the month, so there's no interest rate taken out or added into it. And I thought about it because, you know, I've been very much not into, I never really was into credit cards. My credit card balance when I started this journey was $1,000 anyway, so was never really into it. But now that I know how interest works, you know, now I'm also now a more responsible financial adult to where I know how money works now, and I wouldn't put myself in a position to where Brian and I have to pay thousands of dollars in interest. But it did intrigue me because I think for our family dynamic, that might be what makes the most sense for us. I don't know. It's hard because I think after I said in one of my videos that sometimes I don't agree with Dave Ramsey's teachings, even though he has gotten me this far, like, don't, you know, move in together if you're not married. Obviously, oops. But I'm thinking, I don't know. I just don't know about the credit card. I think it makes the most sense, at least to start off with, especially since Brian is now going to be more involved in the finances, so he can actually see how much is spent a month to take care of this family. But yeah, I am looking for your advice. Don't get an attitude with me because I'm not going to have it. I'm simply asking a question as to what your thoughts on joint credit cards are for family expenses. Because again, I don't feel like that was probably one of the more commented solutions in that video when I asked you guys how you dealt with joint finances. So interested. For those of you who do use that method, you like it? Or for those of you who don't, why don't you? Or why don't you think that's a good idea? And here's the other reason. The other reason why I wouldn't want to do that is because I wouldn't want to have to talk about it in these videos and make it seem like it's okay for other people to take out credit cards. Because the reality is that there are a lot of people, not necessarily you guys watching, but there's a lot of people who are irresponsible with money and might think that, you know, Asia said I should take out a credit card, so here I am, and then just be totally irresponsible with it and end up paying hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of interest rate on that. So I don't see that. I just don't, I guess, want to sound hypocritical when it comes to credit cards, because again, I wouldn't really want to talk about it on this channel because I wouldn't want to encourage someone who's irresponsible with money to take it out. So that's kind of like a moral dilemma that I'm dealing with in terms of that suggestion. So, you know, and you guys know how open I am about finances, so it's not like I can just ignore it if I get one. So that's that. Anyways, another slow moving month. I did find out though that a large payment that I have been waiting months and months and months for, turns out my job wasn't done. That's why I didn't get paid. So that's kind of a bummer because I've been waiting for like 3 months for that payment. And for some reason, everyone on my team thought I was done. So there must have been some miscommunication about that. So that's just really frustrating. But I'm like just so itchy about this shit, guys. I just want it to be done. It's like, you know, you start off with what? $150,000 in this debt. And then I made it to under $100,000. And I was like, yes! And then I made it to 50,000, and I'm like, yeah. And then now I'm at almost 30,000 left, and I'm like, ugh. Can't we just be done with this shit? Like, oh my God, why is this like? You should be more excited the lower your debt goes down, but it's just giving me more anxiety. Like, why do I still have all this money left to pay off? I've been on this journey for 2 goddamn years. I'm so close, but yet it's so unfucking satisfying. And it made me think about how when I paid off my first student loan, which was my biggest debt up until that point, which was Nelnet for, I think it was $35,000. And when I paid that off, I'll go ahead and link that video in the cards if you haven't seen it. When I paid it off, I felt zero joy. Zero. And it's because now I have a $150,000 loan to tackle. And that's the thing about debt. And that's why it's so frustrating and so hard to continue with this journey, is because you're not satisfied until you're done. There's no like, oh yay, halfway there, because then you're like, I'm only halfway there. I don't ever want to be in this position ever fucking again. And I'm thinking like, okay, but buying a house. Like if we moved to Texas forever, we could easily buy a house in cash, but not in LA. So it's like, is this how I'm going to feel until I pay off a house? It's just, I don't like this feeling. I don't like this feeling of not being satisfied and like being frustrated and just doing so much work, but not feeling like I'm getting anywhere. I don't remember the last happy budget video I've actually done. Anyways, that's where I'm at. That's how I'm feeling. September, I'm not traveling anywhere, I don't think. It will be, hopefully, a busy month for me work-wise. I really need it. So, looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, It's just really frustrating. It's just really frustrating to commit your life to getting out of debt. And maybe if I didn't put so much pressure on myself to be done by the end of the month, I wouldn't be feeling this way. But or not the end of the month, by the end of the year. But why would I want to stay in debt any longer than I have to? But the whole experience is just so frustrating because you just give so much of yourself and it never seems to be enough. Like, am I at least gonna feel happy when I'm down to 10,000 or 5,000, or am I still gonna feel frustrated? Like, it's still $5,000. Like, shit. Let this be a warning to you people. Like, fuck. Stay out of debt. Stay out of student loan debt. Shit is not okay. And by the way, I know 2020 elections are coming around the corner, and I know I'm very liberal leaning, but if you think that, if you're hoping that Bernie Sanders gets elected and will wipe out your student loan debt, don't wait for that shit. Do not wait for the promises of student loan forgiveness. Maybe one day it'll come, but don't put any hat in that basket, because you don't want to wait and wait and wait and wait and have your interest build and build and build and build until you realize that no one's coming to help you. The only person who's going to help you is your goddamn self. So get another job or start budgeting or do both. Like, don't wait for that shit. Okay? Get your finances in order, take care of your debt, and do that on your own. Do not wait for promises of people to get it out of it for you. All right? So frustrating, guys. Wow, I actually did not realize how mad at Asics I was still until this video. Anyways, I will... All right, I'll see you guys next week. Have a good September. I hope you guys work a lot. I hope you save a lot. I hope you tackle that budget. I love reading everyone's comments or messages on my Instagram saying that you've paid off your debt. I don't, whether it's your full debt or a car or one student loan or whatever, I love reading those messages, and I know people love reading those messages as well and love supporting you. So continue to tackle all that and get your shit together. We're in it together. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.